We'll call this meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for the City of Natchez to order, and we welcome everyone. We will ask you to please stand for our prayer to be given today by Reverend Will Wilkerson, Jefferson Street, United Methodist Church, and it will be followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, Reverend Wilkerson. Good to have you with us today.
Amen. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, first I just want to say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the health that we enjoy, for the calling that we can fulfill and the abundance that you give, and for the friendships here that we claim. We thank you for the ability to be involved in this vital, useful work, and for the honor of service to you and to this community. And most of all, we thank you for loving us, even when it is so undeserved. In the scriptures, you have said that citizens are to obey the governing authorities since that they have been established by you to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, we pray for our mayor, for all of our city officials, and in particular for this assembled council. We ask that you graciously give them the wisdom to govern amidst conflicts and difficult issues, that you offer them a sense of what is right and true as they see to the needs of our people, that you give them the ability to work together in harmony even amongst honest disagreement, and that when their task here is complete, that you will give them personal peace and joy as they go forward. We pray for the agenda set before them today and give an assurance that all that they are doing is pleasing unto you and is a blessing to those who live and work in and around our beloved city of Natchez. And we give you the glory in all things as we pray in the blessed name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Reverend Wilkinson. We are so glad to have you, Reverend, in our community. Reverend Will Wilkerson just moved here to Jefferson Street United Methodist, coming to us from Cleveland United Methodist, and he happens to be my pastor.
And mine.
And Alderwoman Smith. Let us now salute our flag and repeat together our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. We'll ask the clerk to administer the roll call.
Yes, sir. Alderwoman Hall? Here. Alderman Frazier? Here. Alderwoman Smith? Here. Alderwoman Irving? Here. Alderman Davis?
Here.
Alderman Dillard?
Here.
All present, may you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir.
We have next on the agenda a public hearing. Ms. Anita Smith, we're going to call you. I'm going to ask for a motion to go into a public hearing for the purpose of discussing nuisance properties.
So moved.
Second.
Good morning, Mayor and Board.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Are there any opposed to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Anita Smith. I'm Community Improvement Specialist for the City of Natchez. Today I come to do nuisance liens for nuisance properties that has been adjudicated and Public Works has already cut. First, we have Bugness Avenue, 25, $1,100. Creek Street, 204. Sorry, I left that off. But it's 204. 204 Creek Street, $450. Journal Street, 110, $850. Maple Street, 637, $1,550. Daisy Street, 1208, $450. Homewood Drive, number 7, $450. Laird Street, number 6, $450. Hurricane Road, 305, $2,750. Claiborne Street, number 10, $525. Claiborne Street, number 13, $775. Dr. M.L. King North, 124, $950. Dr. Martin Luther King North, 717, $550. Dr. Martin Luther King North, 822, $650. Dr. Martin Luther King North, 815, $550. Grant Street, number 11, $550. Lincoln Street, number 11, $450. Lincoln Street, number 13, $550. Minor Street, number 51, $850. Minor Street, number 37, $850. Minor Street, number 29, $1,150. Manette Street, 200, $1,550. Moment Street, 119, $550. Eastwood Road, 1202, $550. Linden Drive, 21, $450. Miller Avenue, 2807, $450.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Smith. Are there comments from the board or comments from the public? This is a public hearing. I will call on Alderwoman Irving.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm inquiring about 13 Claiborne Street. Can we get an update on that particular information other than the lien? Because from what I've been told from the code enforcer, Mr. Baldwin, that the board attorney is looking at it. So are we able to even contact any party since the owner of the property is deceased? So
What is it that you want?
Excuse me?
What do you want? What is
I'm
it?
asking for understanding about how are you all making contact with the property owners, and there's a guarantor, okay? And that guarantor doesn't even answer the phone, so how are we making any leeway with that? And the concern is that I have is that the structure is leaning more toward the property at 15 Claiborne Street. If another rain, the concern that I have, if another rain comes, you have strong wind, it can possibly fall. And so we're buying time. And that's the reason why I'm asking about that particular structure. I
Well,
have pictures, and he said that it's with the board attorney. I just want to try to get an update.
well, I don't have an update for you, but I do know that in previous years, when the property is in danger of destroying somebody else's property, then the mayor and the board can make that determination to have that structure removed.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Yes, Alderwoman.
Then we do need to look at that. I mean, have you drove by there recently? I have recent photos of it,
Yes.
and it's really leaning toward a fence right now.
We can actually entertain that motion if you would like when we get back into our regular session.
Yes, sir, I will. Thank you.
Certainly. And that motion would be to get quotes and
But
then proceed
We've done
with
that.
the lowest.
Mr. Rudder has already has quotes on that.
He does?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Good.
Thank
Because I
you.
know we discussed it just a couple weeks ago.
Okay, thank you.
We were waiting on our new budget. Any other comments?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
Did we hire an attorney to look in about collecting some of these money?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What is?
We actually have very good news to report, Alderman Frazier. We met with the attorney last week. There is a law that was passed in 2019 that now allows municipalities in Mississippi to through the Department of Revenue delinquent fines. And this is through income tax garnishment, if you will. In other words, if anyone is getting a tax refund from the Department of Revenue, and we provide the list that they owe us money, then that money can be paid to us and withheld from their income tax. So we are working on a strategy now. This service is provided to cities through the Mississippi Municipal League. And at no cost to the city, the Mississippi Municipal League will provide the list to DOR and make sure that these fines are collected. And they will also impose a 25% fee payable by the property owner or the person who owes the fine. And that will be on top of the fine. So the city pays nothing and likely gets the money paid back. We are going to be sending letters, warning letters, letting people know that they have a certain amount of time to settle their debt. If they don't, they will be facing a garnishment of their income tax refund for the next year. Now, this will only apply to any liens, taxes, delinquent fines, municipal court fines that are 60 days or more in arrears. And so we'll be working on this strategy. We just discussed it last week, and we'll have more information soon.
May I, Mr.
And
Mayor?
we are going to need a motion in a little while relating to that. Alderman Frazier?
Yes, you're exactly right. We did have a meeting on that, and let me interject something else into this. When we had the meeting, I just want to let the public know that although you own property in Natchez, you out of town, you stay out of town, we're going to get that money from you, because we are pressing these people, because most of the properties in my ward are owned by people that no longer stay in the city of Natchez. So we are also in the process of taking care of that too, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Frazier, this will be a good thing also because it'll allow us to begin collecting funds to pay the city back for taking care of cleaning up these properties. And we do ask the public to be patient with us. We know we have a lot of overgrown properties in the city. We have a list now that exceeds 200. But we are challenged in that we, at the moment, are no longer getting inmates. Pre-COVID, we were able to get up to 18 inmates a day. And COVID put a stop on that. We've had challenges not only in the fact we don't have inmates right now helping the city, but we also have a shortage of crew members. And if anyone's out there and their desire is to get a job, then come see us because we have jobs available. All right, further discussion. Yes, Mr. Callaway?
Ms. Smith, were the notices to these property holders delivered, posted, and published in accordance with law and delivered to the clerk for inclusion in the minutes?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are there any other comments? Questions? Well, thank you, Ms. Smith. We will entertain a motion now to adjourn our public hearing and return to our regular. I didn't see. I'm so sorry, you're hiding from me. Would you like to address the board? If so, please come to the podium and we'll need you to state your name and address.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Protocol already established. I am Mrs. Anjanette Wilson, 30 New Street, Natchez, Mississippi. My question is, do you have an alternative of collecting the taxes that's in the rear from people who do not file income tax?
Obviously, this will not be a perfect, full, safe method, and we are looking at the ability, the state law allows a municipality to file a civil lawsuit against someone, and that can then allow the city to pursue collection through civil court, or possibly, and that could lead to a garnishment of wages. So there are other options available to us, and we are looking at that. But this hopefully will allow us some traction moving forward.
Okay, my question was stated because you did not offer any other alternative.
Well, the alternatives are also obviously to pay, but you know, according to the law, anything owed to the city has to be paid, and there are a number of means that the city can take to collect that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also, yes, these can also be paid when the property sells, because they can show up as tax liens on the property. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Any further comments, discussion? All right, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Any discussion on the motion? We'll ask, are any opposed to the motion? Hearing none, the public hearing is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. The next steps will be obviously to collect these liens and to continue the process of cleaning up property and collecting money for it. We will now alter our order for a moment because we have some new police officers that need to be sworn in.
Good morning, Mayor and Board.
Good morning.
We have 7 officers that are being sworn in today. One is our newest recruit that graduated from the academy with flying colors. Tonight, we have Officer Rico Carter. He's a certified officer coming from Adams County. We have Officer Kevin Wells, certified officer coming from Kansas. We have Officer Jeremy Sherry, who's coming from Jackson. We have DeMarcus. That's DeMarcus. That's DeMarco. Y'all coming from Adams County Sheriff's Office, certified officer. And we have this guy here who used to be I was his TAC officer in the academy. He was a homicide detective for the Jackson Police Department, now he's an investigator with the nursing field, coming on board as an investigator.
That is great.
We got one that was supposed to be walking in. I don't know where he is, but he was on a call. But
This is good news. I'm going to make my way through these gentlemen here so we can get this done. And I'm going to ask Alderman Smith and any of the aldermen, alderwomen who would like to come and join us. This is a really great thing for Natchez. You know, we have talked about it in the past that we've had a shortage of employees, a shortage of police officers, a shortage of fire department, fire workers, firefighters, public works. And so when we can celebrate today that we have been able to bring seven new men and women onto the force to serve and help protect our public, it's a great day. And so we thank you, Chief Daughtry, we thank you for your leadership. We thank the police committee, the aldermen, alderwomen, and most of all, we thank all of you. And we thank you for making this commitment to serve your community, to literally each day put yourself out there on the line for the rest of us. And please know that you have full backing and support of this city, this mayor, and this board of aldermen. If you would...
Excuse me, Mayor, we have one more that's walking in. He is he's the chief at the school district, Adams County School District.
Yes.
He's a former Natchez police officer. He's coming back part-time, Officer Melvin Davis.
Oh, so excited. No, Officer Davis, he serves his community well.
Yes, he does.
All right, we're gonna wait just a minute.
After the swearing in with Ms. Bridgewater Irving, and you two get behind on that first ride, because you're out of
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. You got him? Tell him, hurry up. Tell the mayor waiting on him.
No, while he's running, I want to say, we really are excited about our police department. And if any of you have a chance to come out to the National Day Out program on Tuesday evening, it was, I think it was about the best I've ever seen. Definitely the best I've ever had a pleasure being part of. And we appreciate all of the sponsors, and Mr. Tommy Waldron, our attorney, and others who pitched in. And I'm going to tell you too, the chief doesn't do it alone. We appreciate our fire chief and all that he does in his force to help support. Well, good to see you. It's a happy day for us. If you would, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. State your name. Do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi, and obey the laws thereof, that I am not disqualified from holding the office of police officer of the city of Natchez, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office which I am about to enter. So help me God. Thank you so much. And if you would allow me, before I shake your hand, allow me to say a prayer for you. And I'm going to ask everyone to join. Father, we thank you for these men and women who are willing to put on the badge and step out in service to their community. We ask your favor. We ask your protection. We ask that you would be with them as they leave home, be with them throughout the day or night, and be with them as they return safely. We ask your favor, and we thank you for your hand of blessing over our city. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Y'all stay right where you are. We're getting a picture. Great. Wow. I don't know how they're ever going to keep up with all of you. We'll figure it out. But thank you. We're going to get down here.
That's right in.
That's great.
Y'all see everybody? Which one? Earth?
You're hidden back there.
Good.
Everything going well?
God bless. I do believe that may be a record.
Maybe.
I think that may be a record. I don't know that we've ever sworn in that many at one time. And so a lot of work being done. We appreciate it. We'll return now to our schedule. We have the approval of minutes, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. You got me all googly bumps over there. It was amazing. Mayor, ask the board to consider approving the minutes for the meeting held on September the 14th of 2021.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
these were just given to us this morning, and we
Yeah.
did not have a chance to read over these corrections, and I would like to defer them to our next meeting.
All right, we can do that. Are you making a motion?
Yes, sir, make a
All
motion
right,
to defer
motion is
these.
made, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion on the motion? I'll call for the question.
Called.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say,
Yes, Alderwoman Irvin.
you just received this morning? Yes, ma'am, I got it from the attorney this morning, I printed them out.
Oh, okay. I didn't see any.
All right, the question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion to defer, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Our next item, Betty Jo Harris is out of town, and we will have her at the next meeting, because we are excited about the literary and cinema celebration coming up in 2022. It'll be here before you know it. We have today Ms. Catherine Mcfade. Ms. Catherine, it's been a pleasure to meet with you. I know you have some news for us that we discussed last week, and was concerning some cuts that have come to your program.
Yes.
Could you tell us about that?
Sure. Thank you all. Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Catherine Mcfade. I'm the Executive Director with Natchez Children's Services, and we serve children of abuse, neglect, and victims of crime here in Adams County and the city of Natchez. And we work very closely with Chief Daughtry and Sheriff Patton, with our local child protection services, mental health professionals in the area, just to provide forensic interviews, a multidisciplinary team approach, trauma therapy, and then victim advocacy. We also work very closely with our district attorney office as well. As you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, we recently received a significant decrease in our funding, which is going to significantly impact the amount of services that we're able to provide to our kids that desperately need these services. So we're trying to figure out different ways and do everything that we can to still keep our program going. You know, we're still good to do that, just at a decreased rate. And so I'm here this morning to ask the city of Natchez to help sustain our program by offering a monetary amount and helping us financially as we hope to continue our program. And just to offer some numbers to y'all, this past fiscal year, so from July 1, 2020 to September 30th, 2021, our fiscal year kind of extended a little bit. We've seen 340 children we've provided services to, the children and their families, and 63 of those being children from the city of Natchez and Adams County. And our national chapter, the National Children's Alliance, reports that an estimated savings of nearly $1,000 per child interviewed at a children's advocacy center. And so based on the projected number of kids that we've seen, and we hope to continue to see, that will save Adams County and the city of Natchez more than $165,000 for this next year. So just come in, and I appreciate you meeting with me last week and doing everything that you can to help us at the state level as well. And so just trying to come here and see what, if there's anything that the city could do to help us.
And Catherine, if you will let me report on this, we discussed the fact that this is a cut in federal funds, and it has resulted in a drastic layoff, really, of your staff, about half of your staff. And it is affecting everyone across the state, and it is a cut the federal government has inflicted upon your program and others through the Justice Department. Well, we see this as a bad thing, because at the time, if we're just giving people money in the form of stimulus payments, why would we cut a program that's so vital to the mental health of struggling families in our community? And so we have reached out to the governor's office. We have gotten our lobbyists involved, and just last week we received word from Congressman Greg Harper that he is getting good indication that the governor will add this to a special call, and ask that these funds be supported by the state of Mississippi through ARP funds available to the state, not through the city or the county, but the state funds, and to help get the programs all across our state over the hump until these programs' funding can be restored at the federal level. So that's very good news.
That is.
We hope it will happen soon.
Yes.
We're still waiting to see when the special call. But at this time, I would entertain a motion from the board to support a contribution. I know we had discussed some amounts. I'm thinking maybe 2,000. Just anything I know will help. We have to be careful. We have so many nonprofits who do come to us from time to time. I'm just throwing out an idea. Alderman Dillard?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The numbers you gave, 340 children, 163 of those are from the city and the county. That's a little less than half. Where do the other children come from?
So we serve 5 counties, so we do Adams, Claiborne, Jefferson, Franklin, and Wilkinson counties.
Are you also making a solicitation to these other counties for
Yes, sir.
contributions?
Yes, sir, I have. Went back to them back in June and asked them for support as well.
In June?
Yes, sir, to help prepare for their October budget, because I know that's when majority of everyone does their budgets for the next fiscal year. So I did go back to them in June and July.
If I had to ask, could you give us a percentage of how much your budget has been reduced?
50%.
50%. Do you have a rough, off the top of your head, what budget amount that you operate under?
I would have to go back because we have different federal, local, and state grants. So I don't have that number off the top of my head, but because of the federal reduction across, and like Mr. Mayor said, across the state, it was reduced. Our overall federal budget was reduced 50%.
Did the federal government give you any explanation other than just due to, kind of bureaucratic letters or information as to why the cuts came?
Yeah, we were anticipating some cuts just because of the way that the grant that we are under, or that we fall under, works and how they distribute the funds and everything. But we weren't anticipating, it didn't really hit all of us until the numbers came down. So we really haven't.
Is it a competitive grant process?
It is. It is a competitive grant process. And so it's not only children's advocacy centers, but it's domestic violence shelters, rape crisis centers, all of those kind of things for victims of crime across the state. And like I said, federally as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And you know, the cut is in excess of $200,000. It has affected your budget in excess of $200,000.
Right.
Alderwoman Smith?
Mr. Mayor, I think since we do have access to ARP funds that have been given to the city, I would just move that we do go a little bit higher, because I know you wanted to, and since we can't access those, we can go ahead and do 5,000. I would make the motion we do 5,000 from our ARP funds.
Okay, a motion has been made. I need a second. I would need a second to that motion.
Real?
Mr. Mayor, I
Second.
second it, but I do have a question.
Okay, well, for, whenever we have a motion, we have to have a second.
Okay.
Alderwoman,
Okay.
or, I got Alderwoman Hall's second first. We'll now allow discussion.
Okay. I
Alderwoman
don't have
Irving?
a problem with any of that at all, none whatsoever. But I do have a concern with the ARP money, because it was restricted money. Not unless there has been some money identified with that American Rescue Plan monies that are unrestricted. So is there monies that are unrestricted? Because it did have restrictions.
Yes, we have identified
Okay, see,
so
that's never
far,
been shared with the board.
we have
You can read
identified
about
so
it.
far, I don't have the number in
It's
front
not
of
about, so
me.
we are still working on it. It's not
Yes.
about now yet.
It's several hundred thousand of
It is, but
unrestricted
yeah.
funds available,
I
but we
didn't
don't
know,
have
so
that
that's no
number.
reason for
It's not
asking.
So very
Yeah.
good question.
Thank you.
Further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Frazier?
Yes, ma'am, I understand, but everyone now is in tough times, and as I say, the federal government is cutting. And I understand about battered and abuse shelter and women's and child advocacy. My question to you is, and I don't know if you had information, how much is the other county, the tri-counties, have you received anything from the other tri-counties?
I have not yet.
So we're
Yeah.
going to be the first one to give.
Right, yes, sir. Yeah, I haven't received that information yet. I know they're still working on their budgets as well. I did check in with them this morning.
I'm not too sure.
Yes.
I didn't say anything.
Alderman Frazier?
Mr. Mayor, I think we should wait and see what the other counties get before we jump out and take a lead, give $5,000. We want to give $5,000, and the other counties turn around and give $1,000 or $2,000. And like I said, I understand that we are the biggest county in the tri-county area, but let's not overdo it and give $5,000 to everybody else, give less because Natchez Adams County done gave $5,000. So, that's just my concern.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Smith?
I just want to add to my motion, this is a one-time deal. Well, hopefully the funding will be returned to you all, but I think for one time out of all of the money we got for ARP funds, this is fair. And if we don't think mental health is directly a result of COVID issues, I mean, we have a university in North Carolina that's closing down today because of 2 suicides. And what these children have been going through in the past 2 years, I cannot even imagine some of them. And I'm sure that y'all's caseloads have increased exponentially.
Yeah, significantly.
So anyway,
And trauma, you combine trauma with mental health issues already, it's just going to exacerbate it.
We're going to be in a mental health crisis. We already are in our country right now. So I think what you all do is a gift to this. And I know a lot of the cases are concentrated in Adams County, so I'll call for the question.
I still have those who want to speak. Alderman Dillard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If their cuts is $200,000 and you serve 5 counties, if you divided it equally, that'd be $40,000 a county to make you whole again. I don't know that you're not asking, well, you're asking for whatever you're able to give. The other thing, did you present any of this information to the city of Natchez and the county of Adams in June?
Yes, sir. Well, I presented this information to the Board of Supervisors for Adams County in June. I believe I attended their meeting in June. And the Adams County has stated that they were going to contribute as well. And then, like I said, the other counties.
Mr. Mayor, were you aware of this in June?
Oh, yes. We discussed it, and we, if you'll recall, wanted to wait on sponsorships until our new budget after October 1st. And it has been just recently that this severe cut has been made. We just learned of the cut last week.
Right.
I don't recall any of these discussions during the budget preparation, but it may have been, but I don't recall in my mind any of those discussions. That would have been the proper procedure. Every community, probably counties too, are all putting their budgets together, and you have to get ahead. I'm just giving you a little.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate the feedback.
It's a lot easier to get it in then than after the budgets have been approved. By statute, we would certainly have to go through and reconcile and maybe even amend our budgets. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Our budget does have, though, a set amount for sponsorships, and it's not totally specific to what those sponsorships are, because I know we are approached throughout the year, and we respond as we can. Alderwoman Hall, and then Alderwoman Irving.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We cannot pontificate as to why the federal government cuts funds, but this is a worthy cause, and we need to give them $5,000 for these children.
Thank you. Alderwoman Irving.
Mr. Mayor, I have no problem with the $5,000. It actually should be more. It really should be, because of the work that you all do to help with the children and all the other clients that need that kind of care and help. But thank you for coming to the city of Natchez and asking.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me.
Mr. Mayor, would you restate the motion?
Yes, the motion is to make a one-time contribution from ARP funds in the amount of $5,000.
Thank you.
Okay.
Call for the question. Ms. Mcfade, where are you all located? Still on Union Street? Or?
No, ma'am. We moved a couple years ago. We're located on 33 Fatherland Road. We're behind Westminster Presbyterian Church.
Okay, because I know that building now is vacant. I don't see any activity there. There was something.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's in the process of somebody buying that building.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Frazier.
As she said, Mr. Mayor, I just want to know if these ARP funds are we going to be legal in doing it, spending that money? That is the only concern that I got, and I'd just like to state that before the board and everyone else, that if these funds are not legal, I just can't feel that I can vote for it. But if they're legal, I guess we can do that. But I just don't want to see that getting in trouble spending these federal dollars incorrectly.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. I'll call for the question.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
will we amend it to say the unrestricted ARP funds? How about that?
well, I would say, if they are permitted use,
We'll just use that.
it should be from the funds.
Absolutely.
If it is not a permitted use, then definitely from the unrestricted funds.
Exactly.
Okay.
Call the question.
Second.
All right, the question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
One more for you.
Yes, Alderman Fraser.
When this all comes down, can you come back and give us a report on how much the other counties contributed?
Sure.
And
Hopefully I find that out soon, but I'm not sure.
And let's throw down a challenge.
Yeah.
Throw down a challenge.
5,000 for all.
And also, just so everyone knows, we're working very hard to get this added to a governor's special call and to see that the state of Mississippi helps to make these programs whole. I don't understand why the federal government would just give a check to everybody in America but cut support for mental health. I don't understand it. Alderman Fraser?
I would like to say, this is my final comment. I'm glad that you came, like I say, mental health illness in kids now due to the COVID. Is, as they say, it's on the rise. Is also on the rise with the adult population.
Absolutely.
We are having all kinds of problems because sitting up here sometimes I feel like I'm on the kind of straight. But like I say, this is not just localized. This is nationwide.
Correct.
That we are going through, and we're having a lot of crime due to mental illness, and a lot of people involved in crime are suffering from mental problems. So I would like to thank you for coming up here presenting this, especially for the kids, and they have a lot of kids, and I know y'all dealing with a lot of special need kids too that have problems. So thank you very much.
Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will now move to the next item, Mr. Carr Hammond with Silas Simmons. Mr. Hammond has prepared for the city a proposal for bank reconciliation services. And I want to say this comes, it's very timely. I want to make an announcement to the public, and we want to thank our city clerk for her service to the city of Natchez. On Friday afternoon, we received word that Ms. Fortenberry is going to be leaving the city of Natchez effective November 15th to pursue other opportunities. We do appreciate her service, and we appreciate also her giving us such a generous amount of time and notice to allow for us to advertise and to have a smooth transition to a new city clerk. It's been a challenging couple of years, Ms. Fortenberry. We've gotten 3 audits done in 1 calendar year, and Mr. Hammond, you have been the leader on behalf of Silas Simmons in getting those audits done, and we appreciate it. We have recognized that with this transition coming, and also with what was noted in our last audit, that it is timely to consider having some outside support to make sure our reconciliations are being done. You provided a proposal, Mr. Wallace Collins, who is an advisor to the city, has reviewed the proposal and said he finds it to be a very good and reasonable proposal. Mr. Hammond, in your proposal, you are citing some funds with this transition coming. I think, it's fine to start with these funds now, but we would also like for you to come at a future meeting with an estimate what it would take to do.
We'll go ahead and get started on, if y'all approve this now, we can go ahead and get started on it pretty soon, right away. And, at some point we'll talk to you about, what it would be to, to do the same thing for all the other ones. But, these are 10 funds, and this is a pretty good chunk of all the money that comes in and out of the city in a year. So it gives us a lot of coverage.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the proposal.
Second.
Can I make the board aware of something first?
Yes.
So these are the funds, I can highlight the six he's talking about, but be aware that when you approve this, we're reconciled through July. So it's only August, September for this fiscal year.
Okay.
Only August 21 and September, which you just got a statement last week. There's no other one to reconcile for 21.
Okay.
And then October in it right now, so it's not even doing the whole year.
Okay.
All the funds, the large, everything's done all the way up till August.
All right.
So just be 2 months he's doing, okay?
That's great news.
I wanna
Ms.
make sure you know that, yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
That's very good news.
Yes, sir.
And then they will be able to start going forward.
Yes, sir, October 1, he's right on point.
And we'll be right on
Yes, sir.
schedule. Thank you so much.
sir.
Alderwoman Smith has made a motion to accept the proposal. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderwoman Hall has seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Dillard?
Following with the discussion with the city clerk, are you or will you be impeded from proceeding with this work if, in fact, 2021 has not been reconciled to the end of the year?
Yes, that is correct. We couldn't move forward with any work for the current fiscal year 2022 until everything was tied down as of 9/30/2021.
Mr. Mayor, and I also like this board to make known for the record that the efforts that Mr. Carr's firm, Silas Simmons, would be providing is essentially journal entries, which for all of us who are not accountants is that wherever they identify either a misstatement or something that's not correct, they would prepare documentations to that effect. However, the city of Natchez, the city's clerk staff will be responsible for making the corrections to the journals.
That is correct.
That's an important distinction, is that there's a misconception that you would hire Silas Simmons to reconcile these accounts, and I think in some way that's stretching the term. They will provide the journal entries for the reconciling to be done, which has to be done by our staff. There's an important difference. They're not going to walk in here, sit down at your computer, and clean up your books. What they're going to do is provide you information that you, the city, can clean up the books. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That's correct.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
All right, Alderman Frazier?
I am kind of like confused about this. I have this memo that you sent to Dan, the Mayor Dan and Sarah, and maybe you can explain this to me. It said that I would say this, that the city clerk office did do all the reconciliation for the year that we had just finished for 2020. The work was not perfect, but it was close enough that we'll be able to make it work and fix what had to be fixed.
That's correct.
What do you mean? It wasn't perfect? What do you mean?
That's correct. I mean, when we were, we did the, you just gave us a trial balance to audit. And, they had reconciled, all of the checking accounts. They weren't, I guess is what I'm saying is they weren't entirely accurate. So, we had audit adjustments. And, you'll see when we've got a listing of all the adjustments that we had to make.
So, in other words, I'm just going to ask a hypothetical question. So, in other words, do you think after Ms. Falkenberry leaves, do you think that office can continue to function and doing what it's doing with the same staff?
Do I think?
Yes.
I think what it seemed to me that they were, the capabilities of the staff were better than what we've had, beforehand. But like I said, there was still some corrections that we had to make.
The concern that I have is that we're gonna be paying you a fee to do, to help these people out. But I don't want us to fall back into the same old situation. We done fell back in the same old thing. So that's my only concern.
Right. Well, I think, what we're doing, the biggest thing of what we're doing is it's time. We just filed the most recent audit, September 30th. That's the day that it was due. It was on time. It's the first time it's been on time in several years. But, you know, that's filing on the last, you know, on the due date, that's not ideal. Ideally, you know, we should be getting the audit started and your books should be ready to go for us to audit in October, November, sometime like that. That's ideal. So I think what we're doing here is mainly to, you know, it's a time, you know, it's, you know, to continue to allow the city to catch up and stay caught up.
Yes, because we have been trying to catch up for the last, well, I'm not gonna say.
Correct, yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
So do you think that it'd be a great idea? Mrs. Fortenberry has brought to the board's attention that she needed more help in the office.
Correct.
And so that needs to be addressed with hiring one or two personnel that she was requesting
Yes,
to help reconcile the accounts. What was that other position for, Mrs. Fortenberry, that you wanted hired? I know it was someone with the minutes, but I'm talking directly the accountant person.
It was an accountant assistant.
Yes.
But Mr. Carr, have you ever did anybody audit where you didn't have to do journal entries? I mean, that's part of an audit. Have you ever done anybody's audit?
Very few, but.
Yeah, you don't, that's part of an audit, is doing journal entries.
I mean, that's not always, that's not.
But anybody's that you've never done, anybody's that you didn't have to do any journal entries?
I mean, very few. I have done audits where there have been no journal entries.
Not one error.
It's not, you know, it's not common, I would say.
I think that's it, right.
Yes,
It's gonna be journal entries.
Yes, ma'am.
It's part of it.
So I was asking, so hiring that person would make the situation better?
Oh, I mean, I think so. If you look back in, you know, if you look back in all of my internal control findings and recommendations over the past 3 years, you'll see that the main problem or cause of all of those is turnover and shortage of staff.
That is what your comments have been.
That's correct.
And so and I've read that, and
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
the reason why I'm bringing it to your attention. So that's one of the things we know we need. There needs to be more personnel hired in the city clerk's office to assist with that.
Correct, I think so.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will just, at the conclusion of this motion, I will entertain a motion for us to immediately begin advertising for a new city clerk, because obviously we've got to keep moving forward. We do. Further discussion on the motion?
Call for the question. Second.
Okay, the question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion to accept the bank reconciliation proposal from Silas Simmons, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Mr. Hammond. At this time, I will entertain a motion to begin the process of advertising for a new city clerk. We have been able to get a draft from the Director of Personnel, Human Resources, for your review. We'll be open to your review of that, and then as soon as it has passed muster with the aldermen, alderwomen, we will begin that advertisement process. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion on the motion?
I just want to ask, so when
Yes.
we come to review the advertisement, do we come together as a group? I mean, how we do this?
I would say,
We don't do anything as a group, as a
the only board decision is to advertise, but we are going to, as we've done in the past, make it available to you, but we would ask that you, this is Tuesday, we'd ask for you to get us any changes that you'd like to make to the advertisement by end of day tomorrow, so that we can proceed with placing this ad on Thursday.
I would agree, Mr. Mayor, but we haven't seen the ad.
That's right.
Yeah, we just got copies. We'll hand them out right now. This is based on the last search process. And again, I will ask you to please give us any updates that you'd like made to this by end of day tomorrow, and we'll be happy to incorporate them.
Mr. Mayor, I would also like to say, I thank Ms. Fortenberry for even staying on to November 15th.
Yes.
So when we hire this person, she would be here to assist them and guide them in this position. And I think that's a good thing, to be able to stay and help. Because we have a software program that Mrs. Fortenberry, unfortunately, has been the only one that's been able to work the software, okay? Or input those figures in Springbrook. The only person in the city has had that for what, over 15 years. Okay? Yes, she was the only one. After we got the training, she was the only one who was able to use that software. When we came in 2016, no one, it was foreign.
okay? Absolutely no one. So my hat goes off to you and your staff
Thank you, Ms. Irvin.
for the dedication and the commitment you have had with moving the city clerk's office forward. We are a lot better today than when we came in 2016. Now, this I can attest to.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're
Mr. Mayor,
welcome.
one correction. I've been here 14 years, and I was here when that program was introduced. I think it would be more like it's been in place for 10 years.
For what, ma'am?
I was on the board here. We served one administration through Mayor Middleton's term with the old program in place. So I don't think it's been here 15 years. I think that's a mischaracterization.
Well,
However,
that's what I got from you all when I came on for 20 years. We bought this, paid over X amount of dollars for it, and never had the opportunity to use it. I'm only giving you your words back.
yeah, I say if you all included me, you all didn't say that. But however, the fact of the matter remains is that when I took office, we were operating under a AS 400, whatever that is. And so we were actually getting green, real sheets with green and white stripes on. I actually have those, still have
Mr. Mayor,
some.
we need to
Okay,
call for the
y'all, we
question.
do, the question has been called. Second?
Second.
All right, we'll proceed to a vote on the motion. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Mr. Hammond, thanks again.
Thank y'all.
Have a great rest of the day. I assume you'll be starting immediately. All right, thank you. We also want to just reiterate, does everyone have a copy of the job description that was current? Okay. Again, please have any amendments to that job description, have them to Ms. Deason by end of day tomorrow. And we will proceed with getting this advertisement going Thursday. And again, Ms. Fortenberry, thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Everyone give her a hand. We wish her well.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Frazier?
I have one request.
Yes.
The request that I have in interviewing the city clerk, that
Yes.
not just a few aldermen be involved, all the aldermen be involved in the interview.
This will come before the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee is a committee of the whole. And that is exactly how it'll run. Everything runs through our committees, and the Finance Committee is a committee of the whole.
And that we all, and make sure that we all get a copy of all the individuals that applied for it by email and paper.
We sure
So there
will.
won't be any mistake on, I didn't get this, and I didn't see this application. Make sure that we all, excuse me.
All right.
Make sure that we all have this in writing.
We sure will, thank you. Thank you. We will now move on to other city business. Ms. Kathleen Bond, our wonderful Director of the Park Service here in Natchez. We appreciate your being here, and you are now recognized.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for giving me a few minutes this morning. It's been a while since I came to give you an update on the city land donations to the National Park Service. Start very quickly with the Natchez Visitor Center. There's work going on behind the scenes, but first and foremost, we finally got our groundskeeping contract in place. So the grass is cut. The grass will be cut every 2 weeks, so hopefully you won't get any more complaints about grass cutting. I also want to say that we have a contract that has been let for $500,000 in work on the roof. And so we're about to begin work on that roof. So we're handling the infrastructure pieces first. I'm going to move forward. It's estimated we need $3 million to replace the air conditioning system. So that's one that's next on my list. Inside the building, we are in the process of negotiating a lease with a new tenant for the ticket counter. So as soon as those negotiations are complete, we'll be making an announcement about that. And moving forward, one of the things that I'm working on right now, and this is my segue to the forks of the road, is the University of Texas at San Antonio. Students from their architecture school last spring used the forks of the road as their as a design class in the architecture school. And it's fascinating to see what young minds will do with that subject matter. of the slave trade, the domestic slave trade. And also, you know, that's a challenging site. So thinking about how they would deal with moving people from one place to another is really interesting. Well, that was the most popular class that school has ever had. And so they've turned around and they're doing it again this semester. And not only, hopefully, our COVID restrictions will have eased by the end of the semester, and they want to bring their designs to Natchez at the end of the semester and have a presentation and an exhibit in the lobby of the Natchez Visitor Center. So we're looking forward to that. Yes, Mr. Frazier?
Ms. Barnes, your presentation is very nice and impressive too. Those students, is there any way that we can get in the locals and helping with that design? Are they going to be involved or what?
Well, these are all students at that particular school.
They're going to bring us a plan, right?
Well, they're going to share their ideas. Now, I will say that I said it on their Zoom sessions last spring for those, and you have to understand the students are going through this exercise so that they learn how to be architects. So they're learning how to design, and they're learning how to make presentations and how to use the software they use. They are not constrained by how many millions of dollars it's going to cost, and they're assuming we own all the land. And so it's a sort of a hypothetical exercise, but it's really interesting just to see what their ideas are and where they would want to go.
I was just, inquisitive about, having some locals involved in the design or whatever.
Well, we're going to be designing for a number of years. So I would love to be able to connect with some local schools and have that happen. Absolutely.
Now, my next and final question, the Welcome Center down and this past the Park Service, this is very, very vital to our community. Now, this is my concern. What are we going to leave that dump site open for the RVs and stuff, for people coming, traveling through? Or are y'all going to close it down, or it can be open to the public, or what?
We haven't been through that planning exercise yet. I will say that I don't know of another national park that provides that service.
So we'll be the first then.
I said we haven't had that planning exercise.
I mean, when you come in, like say, people do visit there in RVs and whatever, and like I said, the dump site is there for the use for the people in the public, but like I say, it's left up to the federal government to determine what they're going to do.
I appreciate your input.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Just a couple more things about Forks of the Road. The donated parcel where we had our Juneteenth celebration, we hope to finally get our sign installed next week. Our carpenter is very particular about the wood he uses for his signs, but I believe that he's almost finished the fabrication, so I look forward to that. I do have a call tomorrow because one thing we didn't think about when this sign was made 5 years ago is that city sign that was there had the Underground Railroad Network to Freedom logo on it. And we need to find a way to incorporate that into our National Park Service sign because that is a national park program. And we want to make sure that people understand that this site is a part of that program. Other important developments at Forks of the Road, we are still working on the bridge parcels that the city plans to donate. And the holdup there is that there was the discovery that there is some conduit that runs underground through and over the bridge, and that conduit has asbestos in it. And so this is a national park. And not only is there conduit underground, there's a lot of broken conduit lying down in the stream. And as a city property, I mean, that's a liability for the city now. And we have been trying to strategize the best way to handle that when our brilliant engineer saw the word Bell South stamped on it. So this is AT&T conduit that's still being used. I mean, this is fiber optic coming into downtown. And so we are now working with AT&T, hopefully so that they will pay to remediate the issues we have and we can move forward with that donation. We kind of went top down and now we're going we went bottom up and now we're going top down, and I think we finally got a conversation with the right people in their external affairs. So I hope that ball is moving more. The other good news about Forks of the Road is that we do have our first set of 4 appraisals have come in, so that we are in conversation with potentially willing sellers so that we could bring more land into ownership. Of course, potential willing sellers are not guaranteed, but I'm going to hope for the best and that we will come up with enough of a critical mass of property to move forward with our planning efforts.
Thank you. That's excellent news. It is. At this time, I'd like to make sure that everyone understands with the ticket counter about to change. It is occurring later than we had hoped, and we are having to pay personnel to maintain the city desk now, expecting that will continue until about November 15th. This is something we did not budget for. We had hoped that that process would have been concluded by now, but it is getting done. That's the good news.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
And we're going to have a really great new thing going there. The new thing is going to be a great ticket sales opportunity that will be very good for the public, especially for our tourists. So at this time, I would like to entertain a motion that would allow us to continue operating the city desk until November 15th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Any discussion on that motion?
I have one question, Mayor.
Yes, Ms.
Will we take the money
Fortenberry.
back from recreation? That's what it went to. So come back out of recreation to pay them? They
We
budget consolidated when
we can certainly do that, and then look as we amend the budget at ways to replace it
I just wanna make
as
sure
we
they get
get
it from
further into. But for now,
Yes, sir.
yes, that would make sense
Thank
because
you.
we did move those funds. But the good news is today at 3 o'clock we're going to be accepting a nice large check when we sell Margaret Martin, and that will go toward funding our new Department of Parks and Recreation for
Yes,
this
sir. Thank
next
you, Mayor.
year. Thank you, Ms. Fortenberry. Any other discussion?
I was just gonna ask.
Yes, Alderwoman
When
Irving.
she said fund for recreation, was it the bond money
No,
fund?
no.
Okay, I'm
It's just
asking.
funds
Okay.
that we had set aside for salaries.
Okay.
And all those positions are just now being put in place, so we should have some extra there. We'll be okay. Any other discussion? We will call for the question.
Called. Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Bond, we applaud you and the Park Service. The fact that we are sitting on the newest acquisition in the entire country, right here in Natchez, and the only site dedicated to the proper telling of the horrific story of the slave trade, it means a lot to us, and we thank you for your leadership.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
I'd like to
Alderwoman
recognize
Hall.
Mr. Purnell, he's also working on that presentation with Ms. Bond with those students as well.
That's great. Mr. Purnell, we appreciate you and all that you do. Making a lot of progress also with the U.S. Colored Troops Monument, and also the additional improvements and completions being made, including lighting to our Proud to Take a Stand monument, and the new time looper feature that will be there. So, Mr. Purnell, we appreciate all you're doing. The next item, Mr. Johnston will recognize you, Community Development Report.
Afternoon, Mayor and Board.
Good afternoon.
I did provide y'all with a draft report the other day. There have been some changes to it since that period of time. I can proceed. Section 592, North Natchez Drainage, Corps of Engineers. WGK, the city's consulting engineer, along with staff, is recommending approval of contractor change order number 9, totaling $31,755 for the adjustment of quantities, asphalt, concrete pipe, hot mix removal of concrete, etc., on our Marblestone Road, Brookview Lane, and Inez Street, bringing the total value of the blank contract to $895, $946, and 2 cents.
So moved.
Motion has been made, properly seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
the other question, or first question I'm gonna have is gonna be in the next paragraph. But in this paragraph, you said there were some changes that were not included in this draft. There's no changes to that paragraph that you just read?
No, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, discussion? We will call for the question.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Next item, Mr. Johnson.
Continuing under that project, in addition, W. Bland & Sons invoice number 20 totaling $278, $432, and 44 cents is on the docket for approval and payment. After meeting with the mayor and clerk this past week, staff is requesting $61,143.92 be transferred to cover this invoice, along with proceeds from the pending expected reimbursement of $220, $288, and 52 cents from the September 15th reimbursement request.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Yes, Alderwoman Irving?
And I just want to ask, what fund will we be getting the $61,000 from?
My assumption is capital improvements.
Okay. I'm just looking at the budget.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, is that correct? Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
All right, yes, Alderman Dillard?
I would ask that the word transfer be replaced with interfund loan.
Okay.
As when the monies are received, that those monies will go back to the fund from which they have been loaned. If you use the word transfer in accounting terms, it never comes back. The second question I want to have, we'll let this vote. I'll have one more question for Mr. Johnston. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? We'll call for the question.
Called. Called.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Mr. Johnson?
All right, I do have two more items, if the board does not mind. Replacement of lighting fixtures, courts 1 through 4 at Duncan Park. Mr. Wahlberg, along with staff, is requesting permission to receive quote bids to replace the lighting fixtures at Duncan Park Tennis Courts number 1 through 4 with funds coming from the 2021 Recreation Bond Obligation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, do. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving?
Okay, I want to ask with that, he's wanting to replace them, or, because we had,
Different ones.
would they be LED lighting?
They will be energy efficiency, yes.
Okay, so would that go back to, I thought all that had been taken
I
care
don't
of
think
with
we did
Snyder.
I don't think we did address all that with Schneider.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderwoman Smith?
I wasn't finished.
No, I was just
I'm
gonna.
sorry, she's answering the question.
Yeah, the
Alderwoman
question.
Smith?
They were not done by
didn't think they
Schneider
were, yeah.
because they are only used for a small amount of hours
Yeah.
a day. So it was not the efficiency that they needed, the rate of usage that they needed.
All right, thank you.
I was going to
Alderwoman
defer, I
Irving?
didn't have the answer,
And Mr.
sorry.
Mayor.
Okay.
Alderwoman Irving and then Alderwoman Hall.
Okay, and the reason why I was saying Snyder, because I thought they had assessed all the parks at that time when they gave us our plan, and now that you shared that, Sarah, I do understand.
Okay, thank
'Cause I know
you.
that they had all those parks, okay. And then, so, my next comment is this. So they're requesting, is that 100,000 or is it total $210,000?
We're not even there yet. That's the wrong line.
So I'm asking. Okay, because I just want to know if for the lighting, go on, Ms. Johnston, and then I'll come
The
back to my
lighting
thought.
is $50,000 or less to receive quote bids. Not a formal procurement process, but because it's less than $50,000, we'll receive quote bids. You're looking one further down, that's
Okay.
the next item.
Okay. And what I did want to say is this, though, Mr. Mayor, is that, and I may still be jumping the gun, so let me just hear it out.
Okay. Alderwoman Hall?
Mr. Mayor, this was in our bond, this is already in the bond, as Mr. Johnson has alluded. It says from our 2021 Recreation Bond Obligation.
All right.
This money is in the bond for the tennis courts.
Okay, so let me just look at the list.
Alderwoman
because
Irving?
I have the list here, and because I was just gonna ask, now, we're not spending money, and we will not have money to do all that's asked on this list.
$400,000 was set aside for tennis courts.
Okay,
In the bond.
okay. I just want to be sure.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Say that amount again.
400.
Thank you. Further discussion?
I do. How much has been spent of that bond money already?
In total, I can't answer. In regard to the Duncan Park tennis courts, nothing.
Okay, so has anything been done at Jack Wake or? I mean, looking at bathrooms at Concord Park.
I am involved with three activities: the Duncan Park Golf Pro Shop, Duncan Park Tennis Center, and North Natchez Park Youth Center. The latter, I think there's an invoice on the current docket. There have been no other invoices received to date on the other two projects.
And what are those other two projects?
Duncan Park Tennis Center and Duncan Park Golf Pro Shop. No invoices received.
Okay, so when will invoices be received for Concord Park?
I'm not working on Concord Port. I can't answer that.
Mr. Mayor, can you answer that?
We are discussing lights at the tennis court today.
But it's still
We'll
with the
be
bond
happy
money,
to
it's
give
the way it's
you,
being spent.
yes. But very little of that money has been spent. We're in the very early stages, and we're working on bathrooms and all the other. But we are not discussing. That's not on the agenda today. Any questions you have, we'll be happy to answer, but not at this time. We don't have those answers right now. Any further discussion on the lights at the tennis courts?
Call the question.
Okay, the question has been called. We will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay.
And
Ayes have it, motion carries.
I have one more item.
Next item.
The Old Natchez General Hospital appraisals. The two appraisals for the Old Natchez General Hospital have been received. They are as follows. The Ridgepoint Consultants appraisal came in at $100,000, and the Parker Gentry and Parker, Inc. appraisal came in at $110,000. Staff, along with consultation with Attorney Callaway, is requesting that these two appraisals be accepted and placed in the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Dillard.
Okay, so I do have,
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
so we accepted these bids. Do we have a buyer, or are we gonna do the bid process?
That comes next. We do have an offer.
So we're not gonna-
We do have someone wanting to buy it, and that process will begin. And as has been the practice of the city, a dilapidated property, if there is a willing buyer next door to it, adjacent to it, then yes, we're going to look at them. And as was voted on at a prior meeting, it was voted that we proceed with getting these appraisals for the purpose of considering an offer by Ginger Highland of the Towers, just to reiterate what has taken place at prior meetings. At this point, we are not making any decision with regard to General Hospital other than accepting the appraisals. And then the next step in the process will begin. Any further discussion?
Call the question.
Question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of accepting the appraisals on Old Natchez General Hospital and having them placed in the minutes, indicate by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it. I'd like a roll call vote. Alderwoman Hall.
Aye.
Alderman Frazier.
Nay.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Nay.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, Mr. Johnston. I'm just looking at this graph, and maybe a real simple answer to this, but in the first paragraph, it talks about change order number 9, a contractor's change order. Is that contractor that's referenced in that first paragraph W.E. Blaine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so, and then I'm assuming that the totaling $31,755 is in addition to the contracted amount that was.
Correct, and so the revised amount is listed, yes.
And it is listed at $2,895,000, that's the revised amount?
Yes.
All right, and then the invoice here, the second paragraph, that's a interfund loan to cover an invoice totaling $278,432. Is that $31,755 included in that invoice?
You said 31 million?
Excuse me, $31,755.
The change order has not been approved yet.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Alderwoman Smith.
Mr. Mayor, yes, I'm sorry I had to get out for just a minute, but I would like to register my vote as an aye on the tennis court lighting, please, for the minutes.
All right, thank you. Let the minutes so reflect.
Thank you
That
again.
Alderwoman Smith voted in favor. Thank you, Mr. Johnston. Mr. Gianni, Planning Department, you are next.
Hello, Mayor and Board.
Hello.
At the last Mayor and Board of Aldermen meeting, it was requested that staff provide a comparison between the existing and proposed historic district sign standards. A crucial difference between the two ordinances is that the existing ordinance lists all sign types with the sign standard in both commercial and residential sections, making it very confusing to determine what size type sign is allowable where. Instead, the new ordinance's focal point is commercial signage with residential sign standards replicating the sign standards found in the bed and breakfast ordinance, ensuring consistency throughout the codes of the city of Natchez. I did my best. I handwrit the Roman numerals because if I tried to use the review setting in Microsoft Word, all the pictures would be formatted, the font would get extremely small, it wouldn't be very legible on a paper, so I did my best. In my staff report, I've laid out what the, Roman numeral 1, intent, 2, approval process, 3, definitions, 4, quantity of signs, 5, signs by function, 6, permitted sign types, and then the letters for the different sign types, sign illumination, residential standards, and materials and methods of installation. And so there's also some sections in the new ordinance that are highlighted that is relatively new language or putting new language on existing signs to make it more clear.
All right, thank you. This had been tabled at our last meeting. I will entertain a motion to remove this item from the table for further discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Alderwoman Irving has seconded. So now the motion is on the floor. The motion to approve the new sign ordinance for the city of
So
Natchez.
moved.
I'm sorry, we don't even need a motion. The motion has been made to, I do need a vote on the motion to remove it from the table. I'll call for a question on that motion. We will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion to remove it from the table?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Now the motion is removed from the table, and we will entertain discussion on the motion to approve the sign ordinance.
Yeah, and this is just for the historic district. Sign standards for the historic district.
We'll call for the question.
Called.
Oh, do we have any discussion? Did we get a?
We're discussing it right now. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, if I.
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
Looking at the Roman numerals, if I look at the old, which I'm assuming this old because it looks like it's on a typewriter, and the new, if I compare paragraph or article 1 to the intent over here, by your color coding designation, there is no change between this one and the new one, correct?
I mean, there's changes. I would say 90% of it is formatting and readability and clarification. There are new things in there, like this administrative approval option, which is very similar to what we do with paint applications, where we have these special situations, like I can have a sign committee on my preservation board made up by 3 members or so to expedite these sign applications and not wait a month to take it to the next commission, because we, understanding that businesses are moving in and we want to have kind of a fast track process, but also.
I guess my question is, if I was comparing where you have denoted, say, for example, Roman numeral 2, compared it to the new one, Roman numeral 2, looking in here that is highlighted, the only change between those two is the NPC sign committee is making decisions, subcommittee of those fast track approvals. But in fact, a good bit of that is different, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's the same. They accomplish the same.
You have to read this line by line, Mr. Mayor. I don't see anything else. There's.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Alderwoman Hall.
I think the committee has been given this information. We're bringing it back to the board. Mr. Gianni has done what he has been asked to do. And I'm moving that we accept his proposal for these new designs.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make an
amendment.
amendment.
That motion is already on the floor.
I would like to make an amendment that we would use it with some intelligence, that we actually read the thing before we just approved it because somebody else approved it. I don't think that our position is just because there's a sub-entity that has approved it and forwarded it to us, that we are not responsible to also have a comprehensive understanding of it before we vote to approve it.
Sure. And we're having that discussion now.
Well,
Floor's
Mr. Mayor,
open.
it's never in
Alderwoman
advance.
Irving?
Yes, sir, thank you. But it's never in advance. We don't,
This was provided
This was
to
on Friday.
you 3 weeks ago.
and it was, but
The
there's been some
clarified
changes.
version was
No,
provided
there was no
Friday.
changes from this last time it came to the board. I just put Roman numerals
This
on
has
it,
actually
basically.
been out there for over a month. If there's further discussion, if you want to table it again, it's up to you. If you want to pass it, I'd say we ought to pass it.
Historic district,
That's correct.
only the
And
historic district.
a large majority of it is just making it more readable and with providing visual aids and that sort of thing.
It's
There's,
just up to you.
yeah, there's
Improve.
like, for example, in the old ordinance, it allowed historic painted signs to be repainted and that's it. In this ordinance, it still defines facade painted signs, but it's, allows for new applications. So like, there is some subtle differences like that, but the majority of it is formatting, clarification, readability. Honestly, I have a lot of issue interpreting the old ordinance, so it's like, I'm always going back and forth and being like, oh, and then, and in the old ordinance, it permits pretty much every sign type for residential properties, which is, in my opinion, and in the Preservation Commission's opinion, inappropriate, like to allow, ground-mounted signs for, any residential property, which would maybe take the attention away from the architectural significance of that building, and that's what we do not want. So it's things like that.
Okay. Further discussion. As I said, it's up to you.
Call the question.
Okay? The question has been called. All right, we'll proceed to a vote. We will ask all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
Okay. Do we want a roll call vote? Let's just ask for a roll call vote. Alderwoman Hall?
Aye.
Alderman Frazier?
Nay.
Alderwoman Smith?
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving?
Aye.
Alderman Davis?
Aye.
Alderman Dillard?
Nay.
All right, the ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you so much.
I look forward to bring more to the ordinance committee meetings.
All right, we also have a reappointment of planning commissioners Jonathan Smith and Stratton Bull. Do we have a motion to reappoint those two commissioners?
So moved.
Second.
All right, a motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall and seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving?
I don't have a problem with them being reappointed to their board, but we have nothing in front of us, no information on whatsoever. I mean, and we normally do, precedent has already been set with us getting all this information, and not just coming sporadically voting on.
All right.
Everyone should be afforded the opportunity to have that in their hand. I have no problem with Mr. Stratton Bull, or what was the other name?
Jonathan Smith.
Jonathan Smith being reappointed to those positions. But give us the information.
I mean, the only information would be their term has expired.
But it doesn't, when the school board comes through, we have that information. It's the same thing, just a different department. It's the same thing.
Alderwoman Smith?
Just for reappointments, when they've been successful on the board, they've attended meetings, they've been contributing board members, we have typically just reappointed them unless there was an issue. So you don't get a resume for that.
You don't need a resume, but we need something in advance. The waterworks, if we're reappointing waterworks board members, we get a letter in advance. We just did it with Paul Hargrave. Mrs. Murphy, Pamelia Murphy, on those boards.
I think our packets are in
That's all
advance.
I'm asking, is that something comes in advance to the board member. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you. Alderman Frazier?
Mr. Mayor, she is exactly right. And I'm gonna say this because in my packet, I have a reappointment for Mr. Duncan Marsh.
Yeah.
So we do have information on it, so that, we're gonna do it. Like I say, she's right by what she's saying because we have Mr. Morgan coming up pretty soon and I do have a letter with all this information on it. But that's from the Housing Authority. We do get that every year or whenever they come up. So that's my only comment, Mr. Mayor.
All right. It's the prerogative of the board. If you want to ask for more information, want to have this decision at our next meeting, proceed with the decision today. It's up to the board.
I would like to say, make a motion moving forward, that we have all of the information prior to those members that want to, that they're,
Like, I guess I would ask for what
What
detail that you would like, other than their terms are expired.
okay.
Yeah.
Exactly, a memo in advance that we get with their name and their board that they sit on and that kind of thing. I don't have to have background education. They've been on the board.
We can do that. I don't think it requires a motion. I think we can just make that request going forward. Any further discussion?
Call for the
We'll call for the question. All right, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gianni. The next item, we have one item here that we're going to take up, and this is the Natchez Housing Authority, a request for reappointment of Duncan Morgan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Frazier. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
I would just like to say, Mr. Morgan has been on this committee for a long time.
40 years.
4 years, and he has done an
Great servant.
He has done an excellent job for the city of Natchez with his service. And his continuing to serve on this board, he's providing the expertise that the city of Natchez needs. So that is just my comment, Mr. Mayor. I think
All right.
this is a worthy appointment.
He's the most well-known brick mason in the state of Mississippi.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so just restate the motion
Yeah.
second, I'm sorry.
And so the motion is to reappoint Mr. Duncan Morgan to the Natchez Housing Authority Board of Commissioners.
Okay, and the motion second, Mayor?
And the second, I'm sorry, the second was Alderman Frazier.
And it was Mr. Hall.
The motion was
Thank you.
Alderwoman Hall,
Thank you.
seconded by Alderman Frazier.
Thank you for the minutes.
Any, all right, we'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Chief Daughtry, we've already sworn in the new officers. I don't know if let's get that report on National Day Out. Thank you, Chief Daughtry.
Again, good morning, Board and Mayor and everyone here. I want to thank you for your support for National Night Out. I believe it was a huge success. We had a great showing, and our phones hadn't stopped. And our officers got a chance to build relationships with people in the community. They were able to talk to them and feed them hot dogs, hang out with the kids. So I think our purpose was served. And I want to thank the board and the mayor for your support in supporting us in getting that. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just, when you finish.
Oh, I'm done.
Yes. And yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Okay, I want to say it was really a great night. The entertainment was really good, Chief. And we did have a lot of great camaraderie with all the members of the community coming together along with our youth. Great job. But I also want to see us continue with our National Night Out coming through our neighborhoods. There was a concern that our seniors and those that could not come Tuesday night down at the Bluff, that they still come through our neighborhoods the first week of August. So we would have that National Night Out the first week of August, and then we'll come back. Will this be an annual event?
Yes, ma'am. Just like we did at the beginning of the year when the numbers started peaking, so we just rolled through in conjunction with Fidelia and Concordia and Faraday and Adams County. We're going to continue the same thing. First Tuesday in August, we're going to do our ride and hit our neighborhoods. Hopefully next time we'll be able to be out and have and eat with them.
Yes.
But we want to bring everybody to the Bluff. Chief Merrill from Vidalia, he's already expressed interest in bringing his people to the Bluff next year. So we're looking at making it even bigger and better event.
It was truly a great event.
Thank you.
It was a great event. Any further discussion? I just want to say job well done and thank you, Chief.
Thank you. It was a team effort. You know, like I said, my guys and ladies put in a lot of hard work and dealt with a lot of fussing because, you know, we just want to make sure it's right. We want to make sure everybody had a good time, and we did. So
it was great.
My team put on a good time.
So proud of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. We now come to our city officials' reports. Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, sir. I move that we would approve the September 2021 hire termination report.
Okay, a motion has been made to approve that termination hire fire report for September. Any second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion? Yes, Alderman Davis.
On my report, it didn't show who was hired or fired.
These look like they're all higher reports.
Is this the correct report?
That's it. Ms. Deason is here, she needs to clarify. It looks like they're higher reports.
Well, it says September term report 2021, so I'm assuming term means termination, but I'm not
Ms.
sure
Deason,
that's.
can you answer the question?
It doesn't, you're right.
Ms. Deason. All right,
Ms. Deason, it's right here.
Yes.
all right.
These look like hires.
Ms. Easton, if you'll come to the microphone for us, thank you.
But it doesn't say high. It doesn't.
Yeah, she just had them all together. She wrote all of them together. So Deasia Woods and, well, the ones that's in, well, the.
Just refer to numbers, please.
Yeah, I just thought about that. 30, 33, 40 is term. The next one is terminated. And the last ones are higher.
We probably
We can
need
defer.
another
Let me-
report for the minutes.
let me go.
Yes.
Let me get.
Mr. Mayor, I'll remove my motion.
Okay, the motion's been
We can defer
removed.
that.
Yes, okay.
She wanted to have them separated. I don't know why.
We'll get that straight.
Okay.
All right. Alderwoman
just
Hall,
keep it
if you'll
until we change.
continue with your report.
Yes, sir. I would like to thank, a few meetings ago, I mentioned that the career and college readiness class at Natchez High wanted to do a service project, and they're going to paint some of our playground equipment, and they wanted to do it at Jack Waite Park. So I want to thank these merchants who donated 22 gallons of paint for us: Stein Lumber Company, Walmart, Super Center, and Home Hardware, for their donations to these students and their cause.
That is great to know, and we appreciate, they donated 22 gallons. That's really good, and that is
And I
for the
think
new,
the Recreation Department can supply the brushes and all the other equipment that they need.
right, okay, great.
Is Jack Waite Park the only park they're gonna be painting? And
Yes,
what-
ma'am.
And what will they be painting? The tables?
The playground equipment, the benches that need painting,
They need
anything that needs
replacing.
painting in that playground.
Everything needs
Yeah,
replacing.
I'm sorry, this is Alderwoman Hall's report. Continue, Alderwoman Hall.
Thank you, sir. I think I'll discuss later, when you get to your report, some other issues, another item that I have in my report.
Okay, thank you so much. You're just, we can't help, when a community service project, they identify a park, we don't dictate to a community service what they're gonna do. We accept it and say thank you. And we really think, this is a great service.
And I had mentioned to you early on.
And this,
You
and,
did, and I thought that was
Yeah.
something that the director would come,
and the others, we'll have a report on other park updates very soon. Continue, Alderwoman Hall.
That's all at this time until later when we get to your report.
Thank you so much. Alderman Frazier, your report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. My report gonna be fairly sweet and quick. As you know, this month is National Breast Cancer Month. And this affects each and every one of us in the community. We have someone who has had breast cancer that we know. And as you know, we are wearing pink to recognize this month, because this, like I say, this affects not only just women, it affects men. This is a disease that needs to be eradicated. And as you know, as I said, this at one time, this was one of the main killers of women's breast cancer. But now we are on the cutting edge of taking care of the disease. So I urge each and every one of you to recognize this month, wear your pink, and wear your pink with pride. And always remember those who have gone before us. That's the end of my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Alderman Frazier. Yes, Alderwoman Smith, your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just quickly, I was going to see if the chief, see if we could schedule a Safe City Task Force meeting for November 11th, so we can get back on that task force meetings. It's for November 11th. If you're going to be in town, that works. Okay. All right, that'd be great. And thank you again for the night out. It was wonderful, and all the hard work that you all did and put into that. It was really a great event, so I appreciate that. And that is my short and sweet report.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderwoman Smith. Alderwoman Irving.
Okay. Yes, sir. I want to begin with Neighborhood Watch. I had Neighborhood Watch in the Washington Street area on last night, and there were some very good conversations. And one of the requests that one of the community members had mentioned was that to mention about the police task force, where each board member were asked to submit 2 names of community members, and they want to see that up and going again, Mayor. Police task force, just like we had we have a task force for COVID task force, we had one for the police, so.
We do
No,
the
not
Safe
our committee,
City.
it's beyond
No,
us.
this is the Safe City Task Force for the entire city.
Yeah, you're on
And
it.
anyone who wants to be on it, you're a member of it. The committee is, and any member of the public that wants to be on it.
No.
If you have names that you'd like to be on there, the Safe City Task Force has been meeting, that was a task force that initiated bringing back the Crime Stoppers program. And Alderwoman Smith chairs that Safe City Task Force, and it's just called a meeting for November 11th. If you have names that you'd like to be on that committee, give them to Alderwoman Smith.
Okay. So, but again, never mind. Okay, so that was one of the discussion, the safety task force be reconvene and meet again, and when we do it in the near future. I also have a neighborhood watch meeting on Wednesday, St. Catherine Street area neighborhood watch at 6 o'clock, Wednesday at 6 p.m. at 12 Perrault Street, Shiloh Baptist Church. I have a few questions. I also want to mention October 3rd through the 9th was Fire Prevention Week, and our police chief is here, and so my fire chief is here, and I just want to ask the question, this year, were we able to provide any of our community members with smoke alarms?
No, ma'am, that was a program done by the state. We usually get from the fire academy. We have not.
Chief, can you go to the mic, please?
My policy. No, ma'am, that was a program that was done by the state. We usually receive those smoke detectors from the fire academy. They weren't doing it this year. My assumption is because of COVID. But whenever we do get that program back, we'll advertise it to the public and start passing them out again.
Okay, thank you, because I did have a few people call and inquire about them.
Me too.
Yeah, it's a great program. I have another question, proud to take a stand. Can we get an update on that?
We can certainly schedule that for our next meeting. We'll add that. I can tell you briefly that a lot of work has been done, lighting, the new interpretive panels, the additional names that have been inscribed. We are actually working with a company now that provided lighting. It's the same lighting that was done for the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. And our hope is to have all of this done and ready for a rededication date in January on the occasion of Dr. King's birthday.
Okay.
Mr. Purnell is not here. He was here earlier, but we'll be happy to put this on the next agenda.
Okay. Next I have Halloween. Bella Rouge and Greeks of Natchez present Halloween October 31st, 2021 from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's going to be at 500 North Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street. Trunk or treat, drive-through, food and fun. She's asking all sororities and fraternities to donate to the cause. Also, last night at the meeting too, Mr. Mayor, there were some members asking about the city addressing. When will we recognize Halloween? I know it's the 5th Sunday of this month. So will we recognize it as?
As far as we're concerned, Halloween is October 31st, and unless that changed, that
It has
is
not
the day.
changed, but-
But the city's not dictating anything beyond that. We have a lot of events planned for that Saturday. We actually put out a statement, it was run by the paper just a few days ago, that we leave up to citizens when they celebrate certain holidays and according to their traditions. But I believe October 31st traditionally is Halloween Day, and if there is a day to be recognized for trick-or-treating, that's the day. I don't know anything else.
Well, in the
to
past,
say
what
to
we've
that.
done, and I guess if it fell on a weekday, if it was on a Monday, you did it on a Sunday. And that was what, I guess, the guidance that they're looking for.
Okay. Well, we've answered that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that ends my report.
All right, thank you, Alderwoman.
You're welcome.
And I would encourage everyone, we just posted it on Facebook this morning. It was run in the Natchez Democrat last week. It's also been run in the Bluff City Post. From the mayor's desk last week, had an exhaustive list of events that are taking place, and it includes a breakdown of all of our Halloween events, to include events on Friday and Saturday. We're going to have the very first Halloween Mutt Strut on that Friday. Should be a lot of fun. We're having a trunk or treat with the Grinch on Saturday on the Bluff. We're having trick or treat with the merchants for Little Feed on that Friday. Several other things going on in the community, so I'd encourage everyone to look at that.
It's on the website, you said?
Well, we can have it put on the website, but this was my column for the paper just last week.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
All right, yes, Alderman Frazier.
I don't know if we got some kind of communication problem, whatever. That's what Ms. Alderwoman Urban was simply stating, what the city had, what you had already answered. That's what she was talking about, what the community people want to know. So it's already out there.
All right.
And that's what you was trying to
All right,
ask
thank
me.
you very much, thank you. Alderman Davis?
Be short and sweet. Chief, I really enjoyed the National Night Out. You did a good job, you and your people. And keep up the good work. And for the fire department, they're doing a great job. I received got a card I want to read from one of the constituents in the community. Say, dear firemen angels, I always thought firemen came to put out fires. Boy, have I learned how wrong my perception of y'all workers. Your rescue expertise was amazing. Your kindness and thoughtfulness beyond explanation. I will be forever grateful for your presence at a time when I was needed it most. Accept this small token of my appreciation. Sincerely, Catherine Ratcliffe. I'm the lady who was down in the ravine on Winchester Road. That's what she said.
Thank you.
You work for fire department? That's here in my report.
I actually saw Ms. Ratcliffe over the weekend. I had not heard about her ordeal. We're so glad she's okay. And she did just heap praise upon you, Chief Arrington, and all of your firefighters who responded. Thank you for sharing that. Alderman Dillard?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. We now will move to the city clerk. City clerk's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I ask the board to consider approving the claims docket.
What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Any discussion? Any discussion? We'll call for the question. Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. I will say for the record, Alderwoman Irving, her yea vote does not apply to the fire department budget.
Thank you, Mayor.
Am I right, Alderwoman Irving? Correct.
Right,
All
it
right.
does not apply to the fire department. I was gonna mention that, I just wanted.
We'll just make sure going forward there's in there. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item, Mayor, asks the board to consider approving the mini docket.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Any discussion on the motion? We'll call for the question.
Called.
All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Mayor, I would like to
Next
point
item.
out to the board so they can keep an eye on this. You just energy bills and ones, you know, on this docket, the mini docket. Some of those was due to Miss, we didn't have Miss Sonora. There was no one over in recreation.
Yeah.
So we got them, we had to get them all paid.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And the last thing, Mayor, asked the board to consider approving the compliance questionnaire.
All right. The fiscal year 21 compliance questionnaire.
Yes,
Do
sir.
I have a motion? Alderwoman Hall has made the motion to approve.
You know, normally we go through this as a board. I mean, that we go through this as a board.
We can right
And
now?
we go through each of them. 'Cause
Do we have a
one of the
second,
things
Mayor? I'm
that was-
sorry. We do not. Anybody second it?
I do need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms.
Alderwoman
Irvin.
Irving has seconded the motion.
Well, Mayor,
And-
I can't tell her this, Mayor. So from last year, nothing has changed. We had 2 improvements, and one of them was to our audit on time and get published on time in 30 days. And the second was previous license was done on time.
That's right.
Everything else the same as last year. But we have improved in 2 areas.
All
So I'm
right.
proud to announce that.
Any further discussion on the motion? Yes? Alderwoman Irving?
Again, like I said, and that's the only thing. Now, I have read through it.
Yes, ma'am.
But normally, like I said, we will go through, I see that, make sure that we take care of our travel, that it's done, No, because when I went back and I looked here, this was given to us at the last minute when we got in. And I don't recall seeing, it said approve to ratify Mayor Gibson travel to MS Municipal Service Annual Retreat. I don't recall seeing that on our claims docket in advance. If we go somewhere, we have to know in advance that we're going.
There was no expense to the city for that. The expense was borne by the municipal service company, and any expenses of my travel, gas, was reimbursed to the city, and that check has been presented to the city.
Okay, so
There
but
was
again,
no
we don't have,
cost
so we don't
to-
have to approve, okay,
To the
nothing
city,
to
but the
approve.
city clerk wanted that put on there.
And I do have a statement
Nevertheless.
to us. So, Ms. Irvin, so when something is done like that, the statute allows to ratify the travel. And so it should have been approved beforehand, but the state of Mississippi will allow us, something you can always get approved before. As long as it's ratified, that's still within compliance with the state of Mississippi travel requirement. Yes, ma'am. So we did go back and fix and ratify it. It is in our minutes.
Okay.
So they want you to do it before time, but if you go back and ratify it, you're still within state statute.
And the reason why I noticed this, y'all, this was given to us, this budget, this agenda changed 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
So when I was just looking over information, I'm like, I don't recall seeing
Yeah.
this on our claims docket. In advance.
Alderwoman Irving, anytime you call, we answer your call or get back with you. If you have these questions, please let me know. I'm always available.
Thank you.
And if I miss your call, I'll call you back. Any other questions? All right, we'll call for the question.
Call.
Second.
We'll now proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes my report.
Thank you, thank you. And Madam Clerk, I'm glad you're not rushing off. I look forward to working with you for another 6 months. We're going, 6 weeks, I guess, and we're going to make it enjoyable.
Yes, we are.
Because we still have a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do.
You know, I want to just tell you, that's a Freudian slip. 6 weeks in the city can seem like 6 months.
Right.
Man, I don't know how we get all this work done. I asked someone the other day about something. They said, that was just last week. I said, was that last week or last month? I don't know where time's going. City Attorney's report. Mr. Callaway?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First discussions on the school board appointments. We currently don't have any appointments that need to be approved. There will be terms expiring next year for Ms. Newsom in February. The terms run beginning in March. that will be February of 2022. We'll need to get ready to discuss her reappointment or appointing someone else to that position or post. And the next year, February 23rd, will be Dr. Brenda Robinson's term will expire again and be due in March of 23. The terms of the school board appointees are for 5 years. And I have met with the school board attorney. I have looked at the regulations, and that is where we are with regard to the school board.
All right. Thank you. We'll let the minutes reflect your report on that item. Are there any questions? We thank you, Mr. Callaway, for the clarification. Next item.
There's a resolution in your packet regarding the placement of signs to prevent unauthorized vehicles from entering the streets of the city of Natchez. The police department, the mayor, and if you stand outside normally during city hours, you can see 18-wheelers going down streets that 18-wheelers do not belong on. There's a difference between deliveries and using the city streets as a through street. Apparently mapping software is leading to some of the confusion. In order to make this clear to 18-wheelers and oversized trucks, the Board of Aldermen and Mayor are seeking to place signs strategically throughout the city. That would be Canal and John R. Junkin, Linda Lee, Martin Luther King, Liberty Road and Sergeant Prentice, Melrose Montebello Parkway and Sergeant Prentice, Homochitto Street and John R. Junkin, St. Catherine and Dr. Martin Luther King, Jefferson Street and Dr. Martin Luther King, and Canal Street and Washington Street. And the last two are actually a second line of defense because those are major thoroughfares coming into the city and right into residential areas. And if they keep doing it and our police start writing tickets, this will have given them two warnings that they're about to enter a restricted area, and that's why the last two were added in through my discussions.
I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry. I had a hand up, and we'll recognize Alderman Dillard for that.
Just one question. I kind of went down those lists, and I was trying to think, how would they get into the city of Natchez? Would it preclude a destination to an entity inside the Natchez? How would they get in there if their shipment was coming on an 18-wheeler?
It's a very good question. We discussed it, and if you'll notice, this is for not through, no through truck route.
Not
they obviously are allowed if they are delivering to a particular business.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
A very good question. Alderman Davis, you had your hand up.
Wait till you finish with that, the city attorney question.
Okay, Alderwoman Irving.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, could other streets be added, because on South Concord, and I don't know which directions they're coming from, I guess MLK coming down Gayosa, that's a very small street as well, and there are a lot of 18-wheelers that come down that small street. And then there's no place of business there.
I think the idea is that St. Catherine right there, St. Catherine, let's see, this says St. Catherine.
It does.
At Dr. Martin Luther King Street, that really should be.
Mr. Mayor.
The intent was that we would have one right where St. Catherine begins, right there at the bypass. Where would that be on this?
Mr. Mayor, can we have Mr. Dollar explain? He explained it.
We will. I want to make sure I get the location of the sign correct. We were going to have one right there at where the bypass, is that on this list? that I'm looking at.
There wasn't one on the bypass.
Mr. Dollar, if you'll come up to the podium.
I don't have that list in front of me.
Okay.
But I think.
Mr. Dollar?
I think we need to add
These were the
Deborah.
interstate right-of-ways.
We need to add Deborah and Sergeant Prentice. Okay. And St. Catherine and Dr. Martin Luther King is really the same as Jefferson Street and Dr. Martin Luther King. That's at that same intersection.
Correct, but that was just one of the.
I think.
Mr. Mayor, these were only the ones that he discussed, and he says these were the end of state right-of-ways. That's why they're on
Yeah,
that
but you've
list.
got to, you don't have Deborah on here, so you would
Well,
have
yeah, we
you
need
would
to
have
add Deborah.
at St. Catherine at that location.
I would say at number 6, instead of saying St. Catherine, because St. Catherine Street and Dr. MLK, Jefferson Street and Dr. MLK, that's the same intersection.
That's correct.
That's where you don't need two signs there. So I would say on number 6 that we should insert Devereaux Drive and Sergeant Prentice. And then Alderwoman Irving, to your point, that would then
That would take care of that.
of anyone
Yes, it
coming
would.
to Concord.
It would.
If we can accept that as a friendly amendment to the motion, Alderwoman Hall, will you accept that change of wording as a friendly amendment?
Yes, sir, and then we can add that these are the end of state right-of-ways, according to Mr. Dollar.
Certainly. We can make note that these designate end of state right-of-ways. Alderwoman Smith, you accept that? You seconded, you accept that as a friendly amendment? Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
I think that we need to look at this a little more closely, because let me say this. At Jefferson Davis Boulevard and Government Fleet Road, you have a sign that no large trucks are allowed. But they've been using that for years and years, because the heavier trucks used to have to travel around Beltline Road, because we had an industry out there, which was the IP, and everybody was going to the port. But they had to enter on Beltline Road and go all the way around. But for some reason, later on in the year, this truck started cutting through Jeff Davis Boulevard and going to their destination. So it is, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a while. I think it's a sign out there saying no large trucks are allowed. And we're talking about Concord and Devereaux Drive. As you know, we have a large plant over there at one time. And that was the only way you could get in. Either you come from Devereaux Drive, or either you come up Martin Luther King. So I think we need to look into this a little more before we start making a suggestion where we're gonna put these signs at. Because, like I say, and then on top of that, I don't know we might get some flack from business owners and stuff about the restriction of the movement of these large vehicles and stuff. That just is my suggestion, and just coming from me, but it needs to be looked into a little more before we get up here and make a motion on something.
Alderman Davis, you had a question for the city attorney.
Oh, it's not dealing with this, I'll wait till this.
Okay, all right.
Something else.
I would say that I think we have hit on the major streets that we can post at according to the end of state right-of-way. If there is, though, Alderman Frazier, a sign already there at Government Fleet Road, then we need to make sure the police are enforcing that sign. If there are other signs to be added to the list, I would welcome you to bring those to our attention, and we could add those at another meeting. But for today's purposes, because this is a problem right now, and it has been a problem for years. I'd like to see the board take action on these 8 locations today.
Call for the question.
Call. Second.
Question's been called?
Second.
Okay, we'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall, how do you vote?
Aye.
Alderman Frazier?
Nay.
Alderwoman Smith?
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving?
I have a question, Mayor.
I'm sorry, the question's been called. We're voting aye or nay at this
Abstain.
time. Abstain. Alderman Davis, Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it, motion carries. Next item, we'll go now to the mayor's.
Mayor.
Alderman
Mr.
Davis.
Slover's here.
Oh, I just wanted to ask the city attorney a question. It's dealing with, when Chief got with you on the contract for the officer. What's the status on that?
It's in the works, should be ready for the next meeting.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor,
you. Yes.
Mr. Slover is here?
Mr. Slover. Mr. Slover's here, I believe,
Under the attorney's report?
No, he's here
Oh.
for, executive session.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
oh, we do have an executive session item for today?
He ain't got nowhere else to be.
2, yeah.
We do, okay. All right. With that said, we now will, before we go to the mayor's report, Alderwoman Hall, we have been handed a revised hire and fire report. If we would like to,
Yes, sir, I would like to move that we accept the City of Natchez September 2021 hire report.
all right. The motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall. Do we
Hire
have a
and
second?
I'm sorry, hire and termination report.
Do we have a second?
Second.
The motion's been seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion on the motion. We'll call for the question.
Called.
I'm sorry, Alderman Dillard?
Yes, I know we don't have a heading over this category where it gives the, the department numbers or the fund numbers. So for example, 180, and I've been thumbing through here looking, what department is Fund 180 for the administrative assistant?
That's, what would that be? 180.
Look at the name, Mr. Irving. I mean,
Yeah.
It would be
It's the HR
employee
director?
number 303057. What department would that be? Ms. Deason? Hmm? 180.
There might be a typo.
No, it's not recreation. I believe it's 180.
Come look at the name, Ms. Yours says 100. You the name, you can tell them.
Okay, some of them have 100 on them.
I know 100.
Should be 100.
I'm sorry, I can answer that question. We have been going so fast. That is in Public Works, and that is the position that assists with administrative assistant position, working with FEMA reimbursements and other such items located there on the second floor of City Hall. That position has been there in existence a long time.
I would like, Mr. Mayor, if it's possible, I mean, if we're going to use like this budget reports to kind of, identify these, but certainly, I think it would help, just in this case, if there was something ahead of just administrative, we're hiring worker. Okay, well, I need to know what fund it is, what department.
More explanation.
A little more. For
Let's
example, if I asked you what 340 is, well, you wouldn't know, but you do get a telltale giveaway when it says Recreation Director. But actually, that fund would be 126-340. There is no 340 fund. So a little more description there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good input. Thank you, Alderman Dillard. Any further discussion? We will call for the question.
Called.
We'll proceed now to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. The mayor's report, we've already discussed city accounting procedures. No need to discuss that any further. Appointment of new commissioners to the newly created Recreation Commission. We have a new interlocal agreement. It's now in existence. We have 3 commissioners to appoint. The Recreation Committee has recommended 3 commissioners. Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, sir. The Recreation Committee wanted individuals with financial acumen, with swimming, pool acumen, and soccer acumen. So the individuals that we, I move that we appoint Marcus Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan has over 20 years in banking, and he is now at Home Bank. The second person is Miss Carrie, K-A-R-R-I Sullivan. Ms. Sullivan has extensive experience in swimming.
Simpson.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
Carrie Simpson.
I'm sorry, I meant Carrie Simpson. Swimming, she's been a Red Cross instructor. She was a certified lifeguard and is involved in Cathedral swim team. And the third person is Mr. Dennis Hogue. Mr. Hogue has extensive history with soccer. He was a soccer coach at Natchez High. He is currently a soccer coach at Cathedral. He has been involved in league soccer and has extensive history with soccer. So these are the 3 people that we feel have acumen to serve on the new Interlocal Recreation Commission with the county because of their financial acumen, their swimming pool acumen, and soccer acumen.
Thank you. Are you making the motion?
I made the motion, yes, sir.
All right, the motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall. Do I have a second?
Second.
The second by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion.
Yes, I do.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I don't have a problem with any of these, but it's the process. I think that we are a public body. We have public meetings, and that we've narrowed it down to 3, but shouldn't the entire board had an input on that? The entire board, when I mean that all 6 members and not the recreation board. Shouldn't we all have had input? All 3 of these people are great people, and I know of all 3 of them. Have no problem with that, but I just think when it comes to us, we as a board need to come together to make these decisions and not 3 people on rep.
We're together right now.
But no, it's been presented to us.
Yes,
Because
and we're
I could have
asking for your
had 3
input.
people that I could bring, any other alderperson could have. And I'm not being argumentative, you all. I'm just saying it's the process, the way we do things. You just bring this to us and you want to vote. That's not fair to me sitting here as a board member. That's not fair to me sitting here as a board member. Everybody should have input on who they would like to see a part of this board. Again, it's nothing personal. It's the process, the way we do things. We are a public body. We have public meetings, and we should be able to have input, all 6 of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Frazier?
She is exactly right. You bring this to us, but rest of us don't have no input on it. And I'm just gonna be frank and honest. We need to be, as you said, we should be together as a board, but we are not, because some of us don't get this information and some of us do. But when you're gonna do this, have everyone that's on this board to be involved. And I can say this, and I can say this, it's nothing personal against Ms. Hall, nobody else. It's an excellent choice of these people that you got. I like these people that you got, especially Mr. Sullivan, I've been knowing, and that's an excellent choice. But as she say, it's just a process. And like I said, I didn't come up here to be argumentative about this, nothing like, but just let us in on the process. The selection, like I say, is good, but it's just a process. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we have followed
Alderwoman
the
Hall?
procedure of every committee. That nothing has changed from how these committees have been functioning.
Yeah,
And these are the recommendations.
I'm sorry, Alderwoman Hall has the floor.
These are the recommendations from the Recreation Committee to the board, which is a public body. And I made the motion that we accept these 3 people on the.
Alderwoman Irving?
I just want to say this, Mr. Mayor. We have not had, if we had had the opportunity, we don't get minutes from those meetings that you're having as a as a small committee, we don't get any minutes. If we would receive minutes in advance, then we would know. But coming here asking for a vote, and again, this is nothing personal. It's just that it makes you feel like you don't respect your entire board. You don't.
With all due respect, you were provided this information Friday, and this interlocal agreement was just signed last week. It was just approved on October 1. We have, I mean, right at the very deadline, we tried our best. We had opposition over and over in these meetings, individuals voting against the interlocal agreement. We finally were able to get a unanimous decision at the very end of September, and the process has to move on. We have a pool. We have a commission. We now need commissioners, and I'm sorry if you don't agree with the process, but the committee has made 3 excellent recommendations. You both, Alderman Frazier, Alderman Irving, have said these are great recommendations.
They are,
Let's move forward.
Process. We got to do better as a board.
You were given the report Friday.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Alderman.
You know, like, I can sit here and argue about this all day, but like I said, it's just a process. And you can sit up there and put a good face on it, but it's not a good face. It's not the way, it's like say, it's the way the process is doing, it's the way that me and Ms. Urban are being treated. We're getting this last. We don't get this, we getting this last. You got a committee. The committee do not run the city. The aldermen do. So please, please, let us in on some of these situations when they're going on. We don't have input until the last minute.
Everyone, as I say, got this Friday in your packets. The motion's on the floor. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just the only thing I'm gonna say is that we've using the committee process, and the only time I hear dismay about it is when they're not on that particular committee, some aldermen. So I'm not dismayed when you give a report and offer recommendations from other committees. That's part of the process. That's why we're moving things along this city and not spending 3 or 4 meetings trying to argue over an appointment when we got 3 good candidates. If there was an issue with one of them, we could table it and bring something up. But there's not. They're great candidates. I rest my case.
Call the question.
All right. The question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall.
Aye.
Alderman Frazier.
Aye, Mr. Mayor.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. We have miscellaneous updates. The special call board meeting for tomorrow has been postponed until October 25th at 2 p.m. I spoke to President Hutchins this morning, President Angela Hutchins of the Board of Supervisors. She indicated it would be best if we had this meeting and could have the school board present, as well as the Board of Supervisors and the Board of Aldermen, to discuss the future of workforce development in our area. And so I reached out to Superintendent Fred Butcher this morning. We discussed it. I will be visiting with the school board on this matter a week from today at their meeting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon next Tuesday. Just met with the Board of Supervisors last week. I believe we are quickly coming to the conclusion that this is a great step forward. I will share this. We're not asking for anything right now except the first bite of the apple. You can't eat an apple all in one gulp. We have to have a first bite. First bite is to hire a director of workforce development for Natchez Adams County. In the discussion with the newly appointed Director of Workforce Development in the new Department of Workforce Development established by the legislature last year, his name is Ryan Miller. In a discussion with him last week, he indicated he wished that he would see all cities and counties around the state doing what we right now are proposing to do. He said, we will be one of the very first city counties, school board, to come together in agreement like this. And it's going to be really good for us. To our knowledge, Panola County has this, and some community on the Gulf Coast, we haven't determined exactly which one, and a couple possibly in North Mississippi. It's important that we be on the front end. Just last week, we had an employer who has moved to this area express concern over the availability of qualified candidates. And we must, if we're going to see our economy move forward, we must have this important position filled, and I would say filled by the end of the month. So it's important for us as we move forward. I will say, in addressing our job surplus dilemma, the fact that we have a lot of jobs, and unfortunately we have a lower than desired job participation rate. The city of Natchez will be having another job fair. This will be the third job fair in 3 months for our community. We're encouraging all employers to participate. Ms. Deason, November the 3rd. It's a Wednesday. It will be held at the Convention Center, and then more information is being put out between now and then. Second item, we do want to have a motion today. We have met with Mr. Tim Cotton, who is our prosecutor for the municipal court. He is very encouraged that the law that now allows garnishment against or withholding against individuals' state income tax refunds to take place. He's encouraged that that will be a very good strategy moving forward, and he would like a motion that would allow him to provide that request to court personnel, that anyone delinquent in their municipal court fines that is later than 60 days immediately be sent a letter of collection warning them that if they don't pay, they will be subject to having their income tax refunds next year reduced by the amount of their fine plus a 25% penalty and handling fee. So do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Davis. Any discussion?
Dillard.
Was it Alderman Dillard?
Dillard.
I get no respect.
Alderman Dillard has seconded the motion. I'm trying to throw a few to your friend down there. Discussion on the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I think this is an excellent opportunity since we are going through this debt collection process we brought before the board several months ago. And this will also relieve a lot of Mrs. Smith's turmoil in processing some of these claims that we do get against delinquent and dilapidated derelict properties.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Further discussion? We'll call for the question.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. I want to invite everyone to a really great moment. The city has for many years owned the old Margaret Martin High School building. It is a building that now is about to be sold. We have followed the process. We got appraisals. We got 2 appraisals. We got the average of the 2. We settled on a price. It was agreed to. We will sign those documents this afternoon, and in keeping with the city's long-standing policy of allowing neighboring properties to buy derelict properties next door, adjacent, or in vicinity of them, this property is being sold to Dunleaf, to the Joe Yeager operation. He is a leading hotelier from New Orleans, and their intent is to put several million into this facility, putting it back on the tax rolls, and also making it possible to have the auditorium restored and available for use in the community, to have a Viking cooking school there, a spa, and also overflow hotel and venue space. It's a great opportunity. It will bring jobs and great renewal to that building and to that area. And we will no longer carry that burden. So I'll invite you. Excited. So I do invite you to come out and take part in that at 3 p.m. today. Final note before we go into an executive session, Ms. Nora Cole is doing a great job getting settled in, planning events, getting a staff assembled, getting equipment in place. The junior auxiliary building has been donated back to the city. As soon as that time given for them to vacate expires at the end of this month, we will begin relocating the Parks and Recreation Department to that facility. Actually not relocating. They really haven't been anywhere because we haven't really had what you would call a department for some time. So we are also now meeting with a new contractor, looking at significant work to be done to improve landscaping and cut back bushes and get our parks looking good. And then they are also now starting the process required to refurbish bathrooms, refurbish existing equipment, purchase the new equipment that is provided in the bond. We hope to have updates for you at a future date. That concludes my report. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Alderwoman Irvin.
Okay, in the parks too, we also have drainage issues, so will we be addressing those? And Jack Wade Park is one of them that does have drainage issues.
We'll certainly be looking at it. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. I want to say now we've got a lot done, but we have a need for an executive session. Mr. Callaway, what is the purpose? We'll have an open determination for the purpose of this executive session.
Mr. Mayor, the city is currently involved in litigation with Riverside Construction. I have Mr. Slover present. He is the attorney representing the city in that lawsuit. There are some strategy matters we need to discuss as how we're going to proceed in that lawsuit. And it's not something we need to discuss in public and tip our hands. So that would be the first, would be ongoing litigation and strategy involved. The second is a personnel and disciplinary matter at the police department, for personnel at the police department. Those are the two matters.
With that constituting our open determination, I will now ask for a motion to allow us to go into executive session.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis. Any discussion on the motion? Any opposed to the motion? Hearing none, we will now go into executive session. We'll have a report when we return.
Can we take a...
All right, we're back. We're going to entertain a motion to adjourn the executive session.
So moved. Second. Oh, Dan Dillon second.
Alderman Davis has made the motion. This is just to adjourn the executive session. Alderman Dillard has seconded that motion. Any opposed to the motion? Hearing none, the motion carries. We'll give a brief report.
Okay.
We did discuss a litigation matter. No action was taken. We discussed a personnel matter. No action was taken. That concludes the report of the executive committee. Executive session. We'll now call for a motion to adjourn.
Before invite.
We do want to make a quick note that we have two beautiful police vehicles that have been detailed for the purposes of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and also Domestic Crime Awareness Month. They're right out here in the parking lot. Alderman, you're invited to go see them.
They're beautiful.
And they are beautiful, and we're proud of our police department for their support of these worthy causes. We'll now acknowledge Alderman Davis's motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Dillard.
Up, Dillard.
Any opposed to the motion? You can enjoy being here by yourself. Motion carries. We stand adjourned. All right.